Hello, this is Dr. Kurt Stahura. I'm a professor within the College of Hospitality and Tourism Management at Niagara University. I also serve as the Niagara Global Tourism Institute's Scholar and Director of Research here at TREC, which sits on the international border between New York, USA, and Canada, surrounded, of course, by Niagara Falls, the falls themselves. Today we're really lucky to have Nick Hurd, who is a regular here at TREC, and he's aware of our tourism shorts, and what a wonderful perspective he has going through the pandemic, which we'll discuss, and kind of interacting with tourists on a very personal and intimate level, because you get to know them as you're walking around. So without further ado, I'll let you introduce yourself and talk about your tour company, and then we'll proceed.
Awesome. Well, thank you for having me.
It's great to have you here.
So, my name is Nick Hurd, and I run a tour company. It's Niagara Falls Adventure Tours. And we do these 1-hour tours that kind of give you all the information you'd really want to know about Niagara Falls in that 1 hour. And then we partner it up with the different attractions. So you have the Cave of the Winds, the Maid of the Mist, and the tour, but it's broken into these bite-sized pieces, so you're not, stuck with a group all day. You can kind of do things at your own leisure, and it just makes your day a little bit more easy for yourself. But then also you're coming to Niagara Falls and you have a plan, opposed to you get here and you end up getting into a line at the Maid of the Mist, for example, and you're there for a while. So we plan out your day, so you're kind of doing it the best way that you could.
In an efficient way.
Efficiently.
It's
yes.
funny, our last tourism short, we talked about the importance of planning, particularly with rental cars and hotel reservations and restaurant reservations, because of the uncertainty of the amount of occupancy, and there's a lot of moving parts right now. Mm-hmm. So you're seeing that firsthand, and you're the organizer.
That's me. That's what I do.
So, question number one. How did COVID and the pandemic affect your business this past year?
All right, so when COVID first started, I actually was just getting ready to expand. I had hired 3 tour guides. A couple of them, I begged and pleaded them to come and work for me, trying to prove to them that our company was going to be able to do well for them. And they all came on. I guess the thing about it is we literally sought out the best tour guides in Niagara Falls, because I don't want anything but the best, because we only have 1 hour to convince somebody that they got their money's worth.
Sure.
So if you have a tour guide that's not going to do a very good job, they're going to feel like they got slighted. So I really wanted nothing but the best guides. So I got them to come on board, and then literally the week after that was when the quarantine order started. And so I was like, what am I going to do with these guys? I just convinced them to come and work with me. And so I kind of had a choice of either going back to the way that I was doing things before, where I was the salesperson and the tour guide, and I did everything myself, or I could try to get them through it the best that I could. And that's what I ended up doing, is I stuck to them. And they were all really happy with that. So now not only do I have the best tour guides, but now I have employees that are really thankful for me, and I think that's important as a boss.
No question.
But it was difficult in the beginning, because we weren't even able to open until mid-June, so we're already missing, at that point, Memorial Day weekend is a huge holiday weekend for us.
Sure.
Several Saturdays, which, the Saturdays are good days for us, so we missed several of those. We were able to open up just before 4th of July, but still, people just weren't traveling like they normally would be. So, even our 4th of July, there was a noticeable difference. Just business was down, and then I ended up needing to go back to teaching throughout the school year. So we were able to get through it, but now we're looking for a great season.
Good. Perfect segue into whenever there are difficult circumstances in any business cycle, and obviously the pandemic affected the way people look at their own entities from a variety of vantage points. Sometimes good can come of it. It sort of forces you to evaluate things in depth. Were there any positives that came out of the
I think
pandemic?
there's a few different advantages. So one, people got stimulus money. Some people didn't need it.
Mm-hmm.
So the few people that didn't need it, that were still working regularly, they were able to transition to working from home. That money ended up becoming more of like a bonus to them. So now they have a little extra money to travel.
Sure.
So those people are traveling. So that's added people that might not have traveled before. Still going on, Ontario, so the Canadian side, they're in lockdown and the border is closed, which you would think might be a negative to tourism, but what that's doing is all the people that would have traveled to the Canadian side, they still are coming to Niagara Falls, but they're staying on the U.S. side. So us being a tour company that's solely on the U.S. side, it's increasing our business, and people are looking for the best thing to do in Niagara Falls, New York, and I think that's us.
Sure.
So that's definitely helping a lot.
Can you speak to the differences in terms of clientele from years past to this year, which were probably largely affected by the border crossings, and what's your demographic look like now as opposed to how it looked before?
Well, the border being closed is definitely a big deal. Huge downswing in international travelers. Been starting to notice that's starting to pick up a little bit. Certain countries are having their restrictions lifted, so they're starting to come on over. And that's been good. And actually, you know what I've been finding is there's a lot of people, specifically in South America, that are coming to the United States to get vaccinated.
Sure.
So they're coming here to get vaccinated, and while they're here, they're going on vacations. So it's kind of an interesting thing. Their purpose for coming here was medical.
Right.
But they're still coming, and they're spending money, and they're coming and seeing the tourist attractions.
Great.
So I would say that a majority of our people are people that can work from home, which is pretty much everybody now.
Right.
And a lot of Americans.
A lot of families.
Yes, a lot of families. The kids are doing virtual school.
Uh-huh.
The parents are doing virtual work, and they're
loading up the station wagon like the Griswolds.
yeah, exactly. They end up getting here, and they put in their work day in their hotel room, and then they go out and they take a look around.
That's great. What does the obviously Niagara Falls is going through a bit of a transformation right now, and there are plans for trying to project into the future. What do you think the future of Niagara Falls looks like, and what are some of the ideas you have? Because you have, once again, that interesting perspective.
Yes, well, I get to talk to the people on a more personal level, a lot more than, say, like a front desk clerk at a hotel. You know, they're checking them in. People are asking them a couple questions. But I get to then ask them questions back. And I do regularly, because I'm always trying to make sure that our tour is what customers want.
Sure.
So I'm able to find out exactly what it is that they're looking forward to. So I think that actually this year is going to be a huge springboard for the Niagara Falls, New York side, because people are coming here and realizing our park is beautiful. There's things to do.
Right.
And I think that this rumor got out there that you had to go to Canada. And there is quite a bit to do on the New York side, and people are starting to see it. And I will tell you, at the end of every single one of my tours, my people are like, I don't know why people say this about you need to go to Canada. We're over here, and this is amazing. And they look over on the other side, and they see that there is a lot of things to do, but a lot of those things are things that you could do other places too.
Sure.
You know, for example, mini golf or laser tag. You know, they have a lot of great stuff like that. But you could do those other places. But things like the Cave of the Winds, you're literally standing underneath Niagara Falls. You know, you can't get that anywhere else in the world. That's only in the American side of Niagara Falls. Mm-hmm. The Maid of the Mist, there is a comparable boat on the other side, but the Maid of the Mist is the original, and this year they're all electric boats.
That's right.
You know, so that's kind of a cool thing. And actually, with the Canadian side being closed the way it is, the Maid of the Mist has extra time because the Canadian boat and the American boat have to take turns going into the falls. Well, the American side doesn't have to take a turn anymore. So now they can actually stay out just a little bit longer. They did right in front of the American falls.
Excuse me.
God bless you.
You
Right in
transferred
front.
your sneeze to me.
I know. I had the sneeze I needed to get rid of earlier, but I never was able to do it. So thank you.
Yeah.
But they got out in front of the American Falls and they did a full spin. And I got this awesome video just standing there. And the ride is so smooth because it's electric now. It's not diesel, so it's not really choppy. And I just got this full panoramic video right from the middle of the river of all the falls, and it's a pretty cool thing.
Absolutely.
So I think that this is going to be a big springboard, pushing us into the forward in the future. People are going to start to see that the American side has so much to offer, and I think that business owners, people that are looking to invest, are also going to recognize this, and it's just going to keep growing.
So the data suggests that there's a push toward the outdoors, camping equipment and biking,
Oh, yeah.
kayaking, all of those things. Boats themselves are flying off the shelves. You're kind of you've aligned yourself with the outdoor sort of walking tour, and I think the timing could be very, very good because people are revisiting the outdoor elements of travel.
Yes.
Have you noticed that there's a shift of sorts?
Absolutely.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. In fact, even when COVID first started, all the other tour companies started doing what I was doing, and I was like, it made me feel good. It's like, you're onto something here. Other people are trying to copy it. Obviously, I had the best tour guides, so they couldn't perfect it, but they all were recognizing, it wasn't just me, they were all recognizing this push for the outdoors. And I'm excited because we have some great campgrounds around the area, and I know that in years past, they kind of were a second thought,
Sure.
an afterthought of, now those are the places that people are looking for to go and stay before they are considering a hotel.
Right.
So I'm excited for those businesses too.
Let me ask you this. In terms of, digging down into the demographics a little bit, are you noticing that there are younger people in their 20s, backpackers, that are starting to explore in ways that are more akin to the European template? Are you seeing shifts a little bit?
Yes. I get a lot of people that are asking me, are we allowed to bring our dog on the tour? Is there somewhere we can keep our luggage? Which, if they're looking for somewhere to leave their backpack, that means that they're backpacking.
That's right.
They're real backpacking. They're bringing that with them everywhere they go, and they don't even have a place to stay. I think that's pretty awesome. But what I've been noticing is those people are also really interested in what we have because it's one price and they have everything that they wanted to do. And it's outdoors. It just, like you said, it just aligns itself perfect with what people are looking for.
Sounds good. And of course, to book your tour, it's all done online. And I've gone on your website. It's easy to navigate. And do you find that, that's the way of the future as far as tourism is concerned, utilizing technology?
Yeah. I got a sales booth for the first time this year for the holiday weekend. It's out there for Memorial Day weekend, and I was finding our online sales was really the best way to get things done. We sold, I don't know, maybe 60, 70 people online.
Mm-hmm.
We sold 10 in person. I think maybe a bit of the beast is the holiday weekend is people are rushing to get to that boat ride, Maid of the Mist. They need to get there because if they don't get there early, they're going to wait in line for a long time. It's first come, first serve, so you got to get there. But once they're in the park, getting them to come back out of the park is actually a little bit of a struggle for the tourism in our specific region. It's because they get into the park, and then if they're stuck in a line, they're not in the city spending money.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as tourism goes in the economy, it's a little bit of a struggle with that.
But things are starting to pick up, sort of block by block. There are people recognizing the potential of Niagara Falls, and I think what's neat is that someone like yourself, you've already done this for a while. You're starting to see the evolution and the phases and the shifts, and how Niagara Falls is reinventing itself, sort of.
Yes. Yeah, I'm looking forward to a good year. This should be a good year. I have some friends that have noticed that whenever we're hanging out together, I'm getting phone calls. People are interested in coming to Niagara Falls, getting bookings online constantly. So definitely an upswing, and it's more than welcomed. We're happy about it.
That's great. So, why don't you put in a little plug so that people know how to get in touch with you, because this will go over YouTube, and
All right.
And then I'll sign off.
Fantastic. So if you're looking to come to Niagara Falls, we have a package that does the Maid of the Mist, the Cave of the Winds, and you're getting a 1-hour tour. You get the trolley that takes you around. We set up your reservation for the Cave of the Winds, so you're not waiting in line. And we go to the Maid of the Mist first thing in the morning, so if there's any bit of a line, you're avoiding a mass majority of it. And we do that. It's $99.99 for this year, 2021, just in case people are seeing this in the future. But yeah, you can go to our website, Niagara Falls Adventures, with the S at the end, NiagaraFallsAdventures.com, and you can go and take a look at the different packages that we offer there.
Yeah, and I think it's worth mentioning that in addition to Niagara Falls, there are an awful lot of things to do in the surrounding area.
Oh, yes.
And I think one of the guests that we had, one of the concerns was that when you look at the portfolio of offerings, sometimes they're set up in separate Chamber of Commerce areas or websites, that you have to be a little bit aware of the area to understand that they're not too far away. Lockport's close, Wilson's close, Youngstown's close,
Yes.
North Tonawanda with the museum there, and of course Buffalo is a short ride away. So this area is a legitimate week
Yes.
destination.
And I think it was always viewed as a weekend destination. But if you have a car, the car does obviously make it a difference.
Absolutely.
Because you need to be able to get to Lockport. But if you have a car, there are a lot of different things you can do, and you can plan out a whole week's worth of things.
And because we're back to the station wagon vacation,
That's right.
it's implied that most people will be driving here, at least initially, from a 10-hour radius.
Yeah, I think we're going to get a lot of Ohio, Pennsylvania. I've actually been seeing a lot over the states around New York City. That general area. I've been seeing a lot of those as well. So
The other question I have, since we're engaging in kind of insightful conversation, is, are a lot of people coming here for the first time, or are they coming back after maybe a decades-long reprieve?
So I ask literally every single tourist, because my favorite thing is walking with somebody literally the first time that they see Niagara Falls and just watching their reaction. I think that's how you get through the seeing Niagara Falls day after day. I love Niagara Falls. I love to see Niagara Falls. But seeing somebody else see it for the first time
Sure.
is the best. So there is a decent amount of people coming for the very first time.
Right.
I think you find a lot of mom and dad maybe came as a kid, and now the next generation's never seen it, and now they're bringing their kids. You see a lot of that, or I get a lot of couples where he came when he was 5, but he doesn't remember anything, and a lot of times they'll be like, I remember being in that tower, and like that's all they remember. So a lot of people are living through this kind of for the first time, even if they have been here before.
Sure.
'Cause of how
Honeymooners
young-
coming back?
I see a lot of couples. I don't know if I've necessarily seen honeymooners specifically. It probably has to do a lot to do with the downswing of weddings
Sure.
because of COVID.
Right.
A lot of restrictions of
Of
big
course-
gatherings.
Of course, this in the 50s, 60s, 70s was a honeymoon destination, so
Yes.
I'm wondering if a lot of those folks are revisiting now that they have their
I've had a
travel.
few wedding renewals, like their vow renewals,
Neat.
and that's pretty cool. And there are people that they did have honeymoon here back
Okay.
when, and now they're coming back. I've seen quite a bit of that.
Great. Well, this was a treat, and thanks for being here, and you have such a unique perspective.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah, this has been great. So this is Dr. Kurt Stahura, as part of our tourism short series, and we're thankful to have you come by and share your insights with us. Nick Hurd shared his information with you, And if you have any additional questions, please leave them below. And as is sometimes the case, that ends up being the theme for future Tourism Shorts. Thank you so much, and we'll look forward to seeing you in the future. Bye-bye.